Welcome back to Mash Paddle Brewing Supplies YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making a very simple, easy beer that's going to be perfect for summer. We're going to be making an Australian sparkling ale using Thomas Cooper's Innkeeper Daughter Sparkling Ale Kit. It's a mouthful. 1 kilo of Dextrose and 400 grams of light dry malt extract. That's all that's going to go into this brew today. There's no additional hops, nothing else. Really nice and simple. So to kick this bad boy off, what we're going to do is we're going to get 5 litres of water, pop them into the pot and bring that to the boil. That's the final litre. And we'll get him up to boil. Okay, so now that we've got that to the boil, we're going to add the 400 grams of light malt extract, dry light malt extract. Like so. Give him a bit of a stir, and now set a timer for about 20 minutes, and then we'll add the kilo of Dextrose. So now that 20 minutes is up, we're going to add our 1 kilo of Dextrose. Dextrose is corn sugar, essentially, and is really useful in brewing, adds a bit of body, helps with head retention, also lifts that IBU up a little bit as well. And because this beer is going to be loosely based on Cooper's Red Sparkling Ale, and that one comes in at 5.8%. This beer will come in at about 5.9 if we hit our numbers correctly. And we're going to let this continue to boil for another 10 minutes. People have asked why I bother boiling up with dry malt extracts and Dextrose, and to be honest, you don't have to do it. You could just tip all this into a fermenter, add some hot water, cold water, yeast, Bob your uncle. When I first started brewing, I was told to boil your dry malts and your Dextrose for short periods of time, so half hour or 10 minutes or whatever the case may be, and I've always stuck with that. So whenever I've used adjuncts like a dry malt or Dextrose, I boil them. That's completely up to you. So we'll come back in 10 minutes time and throw this into the fermenter along with the extract tin and the water. Alrighty, so our little mini 30-minute boil has come to an end. So now it is time to add our malt extract kit, the Thomas Cooper's, okay, getting this wrong, Innkeeper's Daughter. I've named it so much easier. Pop the lid off from there. Pour our tin straight in. So the tin will go in, and then I'm going to add the contents of the hot wort from the stove there, and then we'll fill this up with cold water till we get to the 21 litre mark. Now, normally I would actually prep, I've got like a jerry can that I would prep with, fill with water and then keep in the fridge overnight before doing an extract brew. I completely forgot to do that yesterday, so I'm going to be relying on tap water, which means it may not get down to the pitching temperature that I want to get at, which is going to be around about the 20-degree mark. The yeast I'm going to use for this beer, I would actually recommend that you use a lager yeast. So Mangrove Jack's California lager yeast, I think is the one that I put into the recipe, which I posted on socials a little while ago in regards to this beer. But today I'm actually going to use the Kit Yeast from Coopers, which is an ale yeast, so it's not really a lager yeast, but it will ferment out pretty well. I found that they usually do ferment out reasonably well. Or you can also use SO4 from Safal. That could also work with this beer, or their Saflager WB34, I think is what it's called. The one in the yellow packet. You grab that one and put in there as well. Completely up to preference. I know a lot of people usually just chuck these away. Don't, because as I said, they're actually a pretty decent yeast. You could also use them as for a starter for a yeast as well. Preference is completely up to you. I'm just letting all that nice extract gooiness to come through, and then we'll add the wort and the water. Extract mixed in with the hot water. Cool. So as I said, because I forgot to fill the water, I'm going to have to do it 2 litres at a time. So this will be nice and painful. Or I could be smart and just fill this with cold water out of the tap. So that's going to fill it up to 21 litres. Because I didn't use my chilled water, it's only dropped the temperature down to about 34. I need to get it to 20, so I'm actually going to pop this in the garage, which is going to be a lot cooler, let it cool down over the next hour, and then I will pitch the yeast, and then we'll let it ferment for a couple of weeks. But I will take a hydrometer reading now, just so we can see what it's going to start out at. So I don't know if you can see real well there the color of that one, but it's coming in a nice light golden yellow color, which that I'm really happy with. However, my hydrometer reading, not so happy with. Coming actually a touch under. I was hoping for 1049 as our starting gravity. This is coming at 1040. So what I might do is just pop in a little bit more dextrose in there to raise it up to closer to that 1049 starting gravity. So I had about another 250 grams to 300 grams odd of dextrose left in my supply, so I've just chucked that in there, taken another reading. It's now sitting at about 1044, so I'm just going to leave it at that. We're just going to have to deal with the fact that it's going to be a little bit under, so probably won't come into the 5.8% unless the old little Coopers yeast somehow ferments it down to 1,000, which I don't think it's going to do. But either way, we're still going to have a pretty decent beer. I'm pretty stoked on the colour just as it is now, and that might even lighten up a little bit more. So I think it's going to still be a pretty decent beer at the end of the day. I'm going to let this cool a touch longer, then pitch the yeast. Come back to the YouTube channel in a few weeks and we'll do a tasting video. I might even do a tasting comparison as well between this and what it's meant to be based out of, which is, of course, Coopers Classic Red Sparkling Ale. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe on the channel and hit the little bell thing so you can get notified of when we do post more videos up on the channel. Also go follow us on Instagram at Mash Paddle Brewing Supplies, and also follow us on Facebook as well. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter, do that as well, because usually those on the newsletter get first access to sales, promotions, information, new products, things of that nature, and also just go to the website www.mashpaddlebrewing.supplies.com.au for all your brewing needs, especially if you're starting out. We've got starter kits, and this time of year they're the perfect gift for somebody who's thinking about brewing, or you got a dad and struggling to find what to get him for Christmas. Get him a starter kit, get him brewing, and then he won't spend as much money on buying beer and just brew it himself. And those brewers know that's a joke. It's not the case. All right, thanks very much guys. We'll catch you again soon. Cheers.